Back again here, doubling down. It's great to have multiple Derby prep races on the same weekend because you get multiple episodes of doubling down. And what more could you ask for? Go over and check out earlier in the week. We did a Gulfstream Park doubling down episode for Fountain of Youth Day with Video Hippico. Obviously, I have some stake in the game with ownership of Locked in the Game of Silk. So if you haven't been able to see the excitement that I can barely contain across these videos, just wait until Saturday. This episode, we're going back to New York, and I welcome back old friend for this week's Doubling Down.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
It's always a special episode when I welcome back the original OG of Doubling Down, Vinny Blond. What's up, Vinny?
Not much, man. Not much. How are you?
I'm doing great. We haven't been able to talk much about Derby season yet. You haven't been a guest in a little while. Any early thoughts to what's happened so far as we enter March?
I mean, we'll see after Saturday. Locked has been number one on my board, honestly, for a while. So I'm excited to see him run. I'm in a fantasy league, and I have Doorknock on my team because I did not get the draft high enough to draft Locked. So I am hoping he at least runs second or third for me, but I think Locked is the real deal. I also think Forever Young I think he ran great. I know a lot of people were kind of 50-50 on it last weekend for his Saudi race. I thought he ran fantastic. I think he's only going to get better. Those two right now are at least near the top of my board with Nisos not being able to run. So it's still early. It's still very early.
Yeah, you can check my Twitter feed because prior to that race, I said I will not fall in love with the Japan horse this year. I will not fall in love with the Japan horse this year. And then why does it always happen that race and you walk away going, maybe this is the year for Japan?
So for our fantasy league, I do it with racing dudes and some other people. Like when everybody kind of had him tabbed and somebody took him, I think he went in like the second round. And like the chat backstage, because they did like they got a chat, they got a StreamYard, they pull whoever's pick up. The chat backstage between all of us when he went was just like a bunch of swear words. Just people just like seriously, everyone was like, really? Like this is the one I wanted. Like everybody liked him. I think he proved it last weekend. I think he's gonna win Dubai. We'll see how good he is. I think this is going to be I think it will be a weird Derby without any of the Baffords this year, since none of them can run. So I think it will be. I know they didn't run last year, but they could at least switch barns late and still get in technically. Can't do that this year. So I mean, Nisos opened at 4-1 for the Preakness I saw in future betting. He'll be a tough test for whoever wins in Kentucky.
Last I checked, I think it was down to 2-1 right before we went on this.
That's absolutely nuts.
Well, I'm excited to hear that you have interest in Locked. I think Locked might be a little vulnerable here because you missed some training.
Mm-hmm.
Speakeasy certainly helps getting into this race because I think that might soften up Doorknock and set up a little bit better for Locked. But you heard me in my open. I have 10% ownership of Locked in the Game of Silk. So to me, that was like hitting the lottery. So I'm trying to temper my expectations, and a second or third is okay here. And let's just get to the Derby, right? Because that's going to be so cool.
I think he's going to be dangerous next. I think they're going to send him to. I think Locke's going to run in the Bluegrass next time out, and I think he's going to be dangerous there. Either way, I think he's a really good horse. So I'm excited to see what he looks like on Saturday.
Well, enough about Florida. Let's get up to your neck of the woods and go to New York. We got a tough little sequence here for our daily double here at Aqueduct with race 9 and race 10. Race 9 is the Tom Fool grade 3 going 6 furlongs on the dirt. I made note that Lasix are not permitted here in this race because you had some horses in this field that have shown success on Lasix and maybe not so much when they're off Lasix. I don't know if that's something that you think about. But I also
Yeah.
noticed that the number 5 is your favorite at 9 to 5, and wasn't even really on my list of a horse that I was interested in prior to the morning line coming out.
Yeah, he's one of those horses. He just like he never really runs bad, and I kind of feel like that's why he ends up being your morning line favorite here. He runs deep, like he doesn't really run bad. And like the other top choices here, I mean, the 8 for Jacobson. Jacobson's barn is like very not great right now. I think he was like what he really hasn't won a lot in the last couple weeks. And then Super Chow is one of those horses that like when he runs his A race, he's great. And then when he doesn't show, like when he runs his bad race, he's nowhere near the finish. So it's like it's tough to trust those two. I personally like Super Chow here. I'm hoping he's trending in the right way. But yeah, I wasn't huge on. I think I sent you my numbers earlier. I didn't have the 5 either. You got to let the favorite beat me here.
Yeah, and do you want to start with Super Chow? That's your horse. That's one of your horses on your ticket.
Yeah, he just like his good races are good enough to beat this field. His bad races aren't. I don't think this is that super deep of a field. I'm also going to use Manny Wah, who is another one. His good races are good enough to win. His bad races, he's not going to finish in the top 3. Like that's kind of my reasoning for it is that he's just talented. His first race back this year was the Toboggan, which was more than good enough to win here. I even think his race 2 back at Gulfstream probably could beat this field here. So I'm just hoping he's trending in the right way.
Yeah, I couldn't get to Maniwa. I just feel like he doesn't pass horses. Wherever he is, like at the first and second calls, where he ends up in the finish.
Yeah.
He's going to come late, and there is definitely some speed signed on here. Obviously, with that 5 that we talked about, I think he's going to show early speed. And look on the left there, all the horses that general running style is going to be forwardly placed. So I think you're going to get that set up for a horse like Maniwa, who is the S2. And I ended up really liking Stage Left at 12 to 1 as also one of those closers. I'll throw out the Matt Cagno, our buddy Matt, whose angle is always bet the horse that finished in 4th last time against the same company. So, obviously not the reason I'm going to pick Stage Left. But I think if that race was at 7 furlongs in the mud, you're going to have to get back to what this horse was doing in October, November. I love that Florent Giroux's aboard. I think that's an improvement for this horse. And if this horse gets back to running like he did at Laurel and Oaklawn in November and December, as you said about Super Chow, those races absolutely put Stage Left in here. And what really made me leave him on the ticket was when I saw that the morning line was 12 to 1.
Yeah. I don't like. I feel like if you're gonna take a Jacobson here, I think Stage Left is the one to take personally. I mean, definitely with the price, I think you're gonna get every bit of that. You're at least gonna get double digits in my opinion, unless there's a ton of scratches here. And yeah, like there's a good amount of pace in here. That's kind of where why I ended up using Manny Watt 8 to 1. I mean, he's a graded stakes. He's a graded stakes winner. He's going to get pace. He finished second to Super Chow last time, and he still ran a good race. If somebody challenges early, yeah, we could definitely see a closer come here. So it makes sense. I like the 2 a little bit more. Listen to your heart. I just think he's another one that is kind of on the improve. I'm hoping for Ray Handel. We'll see. I thought his last race was pretty good. He's got a couple past races that I think could win here. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of speed in here, which is why I'm kind of hoping that Manny Watt 8 to 1 isn't the worst of plays.
Yeah, and listen to your heart. I wrote down that the cutback in distance since this horse has gone back to 6 furlongs has really helped. The performance as far as at 6 furlongs was much better than those state break company races at Saratoga and Aqueduct, even though those were nothing to laugh at. I mean, those were competitive. You don't know what my ticket was going into this show. I didn't show it to you. So I took the 2 Jacobsons on the outside.
Okay.
I'm going to use Durante as well. I like that Manny Franco's back aboard. I'm hoping that you get a little bit better of a price based on that last race where he finished sixth, 15 lengths behind. But that was in the slop at Oaklawn. I'm hoping that just didn't ship, didn't like the slop, and is going to be maybe the speed sitting on the outside of these horses, who can maybe, I wonder if he absolutely needs the lead, although back in August of 23 had a race where he came from off of it. There's only a couple horses in here that have a grade 3 victory, and you're running in a grade 3 here. That's something that I pay attention to. He actually won the Bold Ruler at Belmont at Aqueduct, which was a grade 3, and has that triple-digit speed figure in that one. So I decided to just go with those two on the outside, your 7 and your 8 for me.
Yeah, and I'm using the 2, 3, 4 here. I went against Jacobson. We'll see. I feel like that's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I feel like his barn's been a little unlucky this month, so we'll see what happens in the start March. But
We move on to the big one, the marquee race here for Saturday, March 2nd. It is the Gotham Stakes. The Silks reward, $3,000. That's real money to the owners of the horses in the game of Silks. Season 2 is starting March 8th. Message me if you're interested in more details, want to get involved. It's a lot of fun. Vinny, you got a full field of 13 here, and, the competition's not necessarily what we saw in some of the other big races, and you don't have that marquee matchup like you might have with Dornoch and Locked, or, I know Nash hasn't met the expectations, but when Nash and Track Phantom went at it the first time, that was kind of a let's see what this matchup looks like. Obviously, Sierra Leone in the race there was very competitive. So the names here may be new to some folks, but as you go through the past performances, this was a tough race, I thought, to handicap. And although it's just a mile in comparison to some of the other Derby preps, you got a very interesting field here. And I'll show you some video because I know there's a horse here that you like that I also like, which is the number 3 Deterministic, who's on the outside here at Saratoga. And you'll see Deterministic coming down the stretch here. What did you think about this performance? You've used Deterministic on your ticket.
It was one of the more impressive maiden special weights that we saw last summer at Saratoga, and he was very well touted. A lot of people really liked him that day. I mean, there's some names in here that have definitely run in some of the stakes races when you're just looking at it. Like, I'm pretty sure Informed Patriot ran in something recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was an impressive race for a 2-year-old. It sucks that he's been on the shelf for so long, but part of the reason I'm using it, he's been working well.
Bullet Central.
Yeah, it is Bullet Central, but he's also been working at a training track, and if you look at he's 1 of 11, and he very clearly is Clement's best dirt horse. I don't think he's been working against anything crazy. The works look good, but I don't really him finishing first. It's he kind of seems like he's been the best horse there for a while. He doesn't usually have them on the Derby trail, which is kind of why I was interested in him off the layoff. That race was impressive. I think a lot of people have been waiting to play him back. And this happens to be the spot, so we'll see. If he improves off that effort, I think he's a very good runner for Clement.
Yeah, Joel Rosario stays aboard. Source was sired by Liam's Map, a $625,000 purchase out of a Speightstown mare. Certainly one that I'm going to have on my ticket as well, 9-2. But like I said, this is a pretty competitive race. I think you could go in a lot of different directions with a lot of horses that. Not only deterministic, but you've also got a horse like Capital Idea, who's had improving speed figures dropping in. Well, Light Lines had improving speed figures. You're getting a second look at Just a Touch, who's another horse out of the Brad Cox barn, and that's one thing I noticed. You got 4 Brad Coxes, 2 Pletchers, 2 Clements.
Yeah,
they're bringing them through.
I like Just a Touch. I thought he's another one. He's on my team in my fantasy league. I really liked his debut, and it really worries me that he ships him here. It just does I would get if it was his only one or if he only had one. He's got 3 others entered here. Lightline didn't run terrible last time. I don't think Lightline's fantastic though. Bergen is also here. I think Bergen's okay. I just it's just one of those things. He ran so good on his debut that I don't understand why he shipped him, because it's not like Cox has a monster right now on the Derby trail, at least at the moment. So it just worries me to ship him in to get a mile in him. I mean, yes, it's only a mile. Maybe he doesn't want to stretch him out too far yet, but I don't know. It just worries me when you have a horse that has a debut like his that looks really good, and then they're like, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna ship him to a new track, because I thought he looked really good last time out on debut.
Yeah, I wrote down, I wonder if maybe he faces more pressure in this race here, if that's going to maybe be a problem. Obviously, going that opening victory was 6 furlongs in the slop. Look at the Brisnet pace run style here. You got a lot of V8s.
Yeah, and he I don't know. I just he shipped somebody last week too out of Fairgrounds. I'm trying to remember who it was last week. He shipped somebody else. Yeah, he shipped somebody else out of Fairgrounds last week too. And I don't know if it's because it just didn't work out or what, but it just I know Cox had success last year, or was it last year he won the not won the Wood, but Hit Show came in second in the Wood.
Yeah, that was
last year.
Last year?
2 years? Was it last year? I don't know. I know Cox has had success on the New York Derby trail, so that's why I'm using him. I think he's good. It just worries me that he ran so good on debut, and then you're gonna throw him into the Gotham, which is not usually the prep of preps. So just a little worrisome. I feel like he was trying to maybe take a path of least resistance with this one, and you get a full field and you get a competitive field, even though I'm not so sure that there's many in here that would really be a name on a legit contender unless something changes. I think Bergen's got a chance, Deterministic has a chance, and then just a touch. Besides that, I feel like we know what El Grandeo is. He's a good horse. I don't know if he's even if he makes the Derby gate, I don't think anybody's going to be over the moon about him. Really, I'm not Eliminate would have to jump up huge to be a legit contender. So it is a full field, but I feel like a lot of them are kind of here because it's just a mile and not a mile and an eighth or a mile and a 16th. So I think it's definitely a good test though for one of these horses. And this race has produced some prices over the last few years. So
yeah, Ray's Kane was the victor last year. El Grandeo is my top pick for the exact reason that you just said, which is the mile. I think this horse is dying for that cutback. I mean, last race he got caught by Uncle Heavy. If that race is a mile, he's the winner by far. He's going to be the early speed. You're getting 8-1. That is another reason. And you got Kendrick Carmouche aboard. Who else would I want in New York on a horse that wants to be on the front end and know how to control that pace other than Kendrick Carmouche?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just my thing with El Grandeo is I feel like we just know what he is at this point, and if his race that he ran last time is good enough to win here, he'll win. If not, I feel like you're gonna get relatively the same number you ran he ran last time. I feel like there's not a lot. I feel like there's not a lot left of El Grandeo that we don't know about. Whereas a couple of these can probably jump up a little bit more. I mean, you got a couple. I mean, Deterministic and Just a Touch second start. They're either going to go forward or backward off that start. And if either of them go forward, I feel like they'll just be better than 98% of this field. So that's why I left him off. But exactly, yeah, I think he makes a ton of sense for exotics because I don't see a scenario where he runs a bad race, El Grandeo.
Exactly, and I'm price hunting, obviously, in the first 2 legs, taking some prices, so I'll take El Grandeo, and then I'm also going to go to the 2 outside horses with Slider for the John Sadler barn, who probably just had enough of Baffert out west and said, I'm going to go, I'm going to find my way to the Derby, but, you talked about the bullets on Deterministic being 1 of 9. How about a bullet that's 1 of 131, going 59 flat in 5 furlongs, two workouts in a row, including 2 over 123. Now that's at Santa Anita, which we obviously know probably favors more of that speed. But out of 131 people, that's a pretty 131 horses. That's a pretty good statistic there. And put up a 90 to 96. Went to the turf. Did not so great in the first one, even though it was a victory. He got an 82. Comes back to the dirt, going 7 furlongs with Rosario aboard. I'll take my shot with a horse like Slider, who's to me has a shot at 8 to 1, and then I'll take Capital Idea at 12 to 1. You had mentioned some of those horses that haven't had a lot of experience getting their second and third tries. Well, this is the one that I honed in on at 12 to 1 on the outside. You mentioned Christophe Clement. I think he's bringing his dirt horses in here, the best ones that he has. And this one won by 8.5 lengths at Aqueduct at a mile not too long ago. So Capital Idea is one that I am very intrigued at 12 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, both horses make a ton of sense. I think this is really one of those. This is one of those races that I feel like it's going to be like. I don't feel like the winner, I don't think, is really going to be a threat on the Derby trail unless it's either one of the top couple betting choices. But I can definitely see the winner of this race being like one of the good sprinters in this division, because this mile race, like I don't like you like Slider. I don't think Slider really wants to go much farther than a mile, but he looks like if like a mile and under, he could be very dangerous against this crop. So it will be interesting, and it will definitely be interesting to see. I mean, New York weather has been weird all year, so I'm hoping for a fast track, but we'll see, because that will change everything too.
That's true.
If it's a little wet, it would just kill everything.
Finishing 2 lengths behind Youth, that's nothing to really sneeze at. So I'll take the shot, and you can tell my ticket's more of a risk, more risk, hopefully higher reward, as opposed to trying to trust maybe some of these lower priced horses. But like you, I think Deterministic could be a very, very solid horse. Any interest in Maximus Meritus? Your number 2 is going off at 20 to 1. And the only reason I ask that is because any horses out of Maximus or by Maximus Mischief right now, that's one of the sires that grabs my attention, who's gone a little bit under the radar, but has had some very good success. The distance worries me, but he gets the distance on the dam side with an average winning distance of 7.4 out of Quiet American Dam. Increasing speed figure, showed some early and gets the inside kind of run there.
Yeah, at the price, he's very interesting. Robert Reed, he's shipped horses in to New York, and he's had success. Correct me if I'm wrong. He trained Uncle Heavy, didn't he?
No.
Reed,
yes.
Or no?
Reed? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Like he's had success. The horse makes sense. Like you said, it really, for him, I think it's more of how good of a group was he really beating at Parks. I think that's kind of the question. Anytime you get a Park shipper in one of these stakes races, how good is he? I mean, he's bringing Sanchez here for the day to ride. He's got at the price. He makes total sense. He's one of those ones that I'm not going to use on anything that's not like an exacta. Like he might be, because of the price, wind up on my exacta ticket. But if the favorites aren't, if Just a Touch or Deterministic or El Grande O aren't as good as they've been, and that horse runs a little bit better than he did last time, yeah, he can win. I think that's kind of how this race looks. I feel like you could go 2 ways. You could either hope a bomb improve, like one of the prices improves a little bit and everybody else kind of stays the same or regresses, or you hope you hope a horse like Just a Touch is going to improve off that impressive debut, because if he does, nobody's going to beat him. But if he doesn't, everybody can beat him.
Yeah, those are probably the 2 angles for our Tour de Force $100 mythical bet. I'll be spreading and trying to do like a nice tray box with a bunch of horses.
This is
something.
Yeah, and this is one of those races. I didn't do the Tour de Force this year. I I knew I was gonna be too busy. I wanted to sign up, and I'm like, last year it killed me because I ended up missing like I think I was gone like 4 weekends, and like it just ended up crushing me because it was like I was just playing from behind. But yeah, this is one of those ones that like if you like one of these long shots, like if you like slider, I feel like and you're in the Tour de Force, you just you just put your win ticket on slider and you hope you're right. Because I think it was what was it? 2 years? Was it 2 or 3 years ago that Wayburn won? And that race this
Me,
race
probably.
literally yeah, this race literally won the Tour de Force that year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the person who won had a like a I forget whoever won like season it was season 1 of the Tour de Force. Whoever won had like I think it was like a $30 exacta with Wayburn on top, and like he won at 43-1. He ended up with like $16,000 before like any like, and I think I finished like I think that was the year I finished second or third, but like it was literally like I just physically couldn't catch him because then I had to start price chasing, and like there was no other bombs the rest of the way. So it
Yeah,
was like
you're up.
um right. It was like basically like I remember for the Derby, I ended up playing like this ridiculous super fat like $1. I think it was like a ridiculous like $10 super facta because I'm like this is the only way I can catch this guy. Because I
Yeah,
literally think he hit like three. I think he only hit like 3 preps, but like he hit like the exacta with Wayburn, and it paid out the ass and killed us.
that's all it
So
takes. But I can tell you right now, my tour de force for the San Felipe is going to be $100 superfecta straight.
right, well, that's what I mean, that's what you have to do. But it's like also like in that race, it's like, well, do you take the easy money and hope that Nisos wins, or do you risk it and you key Nisos for second and you hope you pick the right horse to beat him, knowing it's going to pay out, and you're really just going to break even because everybody else is going to play Nisos.
Yeah,
So it's like that's a lot of strat. I do miss it. I might get in if they do a second season later in the year. I may dive into it because it is a lot. I do like the $100 mythical bankroll. It makes me feel good when I hit something stupid. I hit something
well,
stupid like that.
you can cheer me on. I think I'm in sixth place right now. I think I'm up
All
about
right,
$1,200. I hit
nice.
two races pretty good. So I'm slipping a little bit. I was in second, but I'm up there at least. So
As long as you're consistently hitting stuff, it's like you got a chance. You just really need that one break where you get, you hit that, that $80 exacta, you hit it 50 times or something like that. That really, really breaks it open for you.
yeah, I think actually the Nisos last victory was what made it really nice for me because I think I had a $100 straight exacta maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you do. And you pick one underneath. Then I think it was Wind Me Up. Finished second.
Yeah.
Went straight and got 7 or 8 to 1. So hey,
Yep.
that's what you gotta attack where you got a strong feeling like Nisos, and then in the Gotham you go try key box with a slider on top.
Yeah, it's just like the worst feeling too when a bomb wins and you're just like you're waiting for the scores to update because you're like
Praying nobody
I know,
has it.
right? You're like I know somebody had it. I know somebody had it. I know somebody had it, and it's like it's deflating when they do.
Well, so far no one's run away with it, so we're good. But we're gonna hopefully get some big hits here on Doubling Down. We both can't win. I'm gonna go 7-8 with the 3-7, 12, 13. Vinny's gonna go 2-3-4 with the 3-10. Vinny, always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much. We'll find him on X, Real Dynasty Picks. You still got picks coming out for the people?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I mostly just post them now. I mostly post them now. I have them on the Racing Dudes tab of the Best Bets page. I have my picks. You can find me on there mostly. But yeah, I do post some racing stuff still. Just been very busy, so I haven't been able to do as much as I'd like. But
That's okay. We're all resting up. Vinny will be there for the meetup at Belmont at Saratoga.
Yes.
And we'll be together. So come find us. And until next time, good luck, everybody.